Hello and welcome. It is Japan, and I wanted to do a tier list here on it was the the big I think it's the Max Heart tournament. This was the fourth night of it, or like fourth. I wouldn't say night because I guess it's like not in a row, but they have like a tournament here in total Joshi Pro Wrestling. I'm butchering this beginning, but it makes a lot more sense in my brain. But this was the final part to get us to their major March event, so. I figured we'd go over it because it's like kind of a turning point, I guess, for some of the story and part of the matches and stuff to get to the next portion of the year, which I think March's event will be pretty good already. It's already shaping up pretty good. We had a six-woman tag match right off the bat. Um, Honestly, it's just a really solid opening match. Each woman just kind of had that opportunity to go out there. It was like about 10 minutes, but it was like one of those things where all of them got to have a little bit of showing. I personally hadn't seen any of them wrestle before, so it was all new to me. It seemed pretty solid. It was a decent opening match. I'll put it in the C. Next up, we had Yuka versus Mifu. Now, this one is actually, I think, a little bit more disappointing because I've only ever seen really good things about Yuka, and I've seen different like matches, or like I think she's been in a few tag matches I've seen, and they just both didn't really have in-ring chemistry. I'm gonna put it in C. I don't think I'd put it quite in D because I think it was still an okay match, but I definitely was a little disappointed in how it ended up. Next up, we had our beautiful couple is with Ram and her lovely wife versus a literal cat. I don't know. It's this the funniest thing that like their gimmick is just being a cat because it's like hard to like say anything else after that. It's like they're just a cat. I mean, they're just a little cat fella. So I don't know. This match was definitely more of a comedy match. I personally liked it a lot because I like Ram and the whole just wanted the little Valentine's Day chocolate, and yeah, I'm gonna put it in A. It's a fun match. Whoops, guys. So if you enjoy like comedy matches and enjoy just solid wrestling, nothing super flashy or like crazy, but like competent wrestling with just a little bit of storytelling inside of the match. It's a perfect match for you. I like that about this promotion in general. It's you can go from like having really good matches and really good back and forth and still just like have a little bit of a comedy thing, and nothing's really nothing's really bad about it. Next up we have Endo versus, is it Wakahana. This was a really good match. I've seen Endo quite a few times now, and I really enjoy her in-game or in-ring work. Why do I say in-game work? It was a really solid match. I thought it was just like a perfect thing right in the middle of the card, just to kind of ramp up the second half of this card that was going to be more of the heavy focus back and forth type matches. I put it in B. It was chef's kiss. Then we had like a personal one that like just felt really good because it was like mentor versus student. They're part of the same like faction or like idol group, which was Wananame versus Yuta. And I think this was the first time she got her streamers because everybody gets like streamers thrown at them in like the colors of like whatever their gear is. And I think this was the first one. She was just crying, and it was kind of a short and sweet match. I don't think the match was like the best in the world, but I think for a solid first like major match for this for Yuta was it was perfect, and against her mentor was really cool. I put it in B. It's definitely a match that you want to like bookmark because I think if Yuta's career takes off, this is the match to kind of look at the show where she's came from. So I think it's pretty cool. I was glad to be able to catch it. Next up, we had Yuka versus Haru. Haru, I think is how you say her name. This was just a solid match. I really couldn't tell you much about it. Like just that it's 8 minutes of just back and forth, pretty solid altogether. I hadn't seen either of these two wrestle before. They have not been on a card that I've seen that like at least solo. Sometimes when you get like the six women things, some people blend into the background, but as far as I know, I have not seen either of these two face off one on one. And I was a fan. I enjoyed it. It's a nice, sweet 8 minute match. Um, it checks all the boxes of just being in the card. Obviously, both of them, could always use. I think that they could have used more time and they could have upped the score, but for 8 minutes, it was good. Next up, we had another tag match, which actually this one was a little surprising. It was a fairly long match and it was fairly decent together. It was Rika and Toga versus Himawara. I think is how you say your name, with the sunflowers and stuff, and Mizuki, our champion. Which actually, surprisingly, that they lost that match. I know it, it was kind of like for the, I guess, the storytelling that was going on, but man, it was a really good match. I think I would put it in A. I honestly think I enjoyed quite a bit of it. It was a pretty good, solid back and forth tag match. The thing with like Total Joshi Pro Wrestling, like you kind of have to feel like that comedy element to it. So I feel like with a lot of my ratings, it's at least like the entertainment because it's not like the pinnacle of like the best in the world wrestling. Sometimes like they do have that, but like sometimes it's just the in-ring character work, and like I don't even, they're not even speaking the language that I know, and I'm just still laughing and have a smile across my face of what's going on, just because I can but tell what's going on by the facial expressions and stuff going on. So I feel like this is a fun promotion if you haven't checked it out. And then we had a title match, which was Souza versus Jada Stone, which Jada Stone, I'm pretty sure is American. I've seen her a couple times in like Japan and different cards and different promotions. It was a really good match. Jada Stone is just has that strength. Like she's kind of like looks on the smaller side, but like she's just muscle. So like she can just power lift everybody who's smaller than her and like get some really nasty offense in. And obviously Souza came back with it and defeated her to keep on to her international princess title. I thought it was pretty solid. I put it on A. I like the match. And then we get to the main event, which is what this tournament's been all about. It's all been about tag teams to see who would go against Maki and Miko. So like or Mayu. Why did yeah. But I've been waiting for this. We had Hyper Misao and Shota, which is the little like kaiju person, against Maxi Impaler and Palm, and they're kind of like relationship is like hostage and hostage because like I feel like Palm doesn't really know what, like half of Max's offense is just to use Palm as a weapon. So like the spots were great, and Hyper Mazal kept trying to run over Max with the bike. That was the best because like there was the one where she missed in the very beginning, and then when she went down the stairs and did it, I'm like, man, she's got to hit this because if she doesn't hit this, it's gonna mess her up. And she almost like took out her own leg. And I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. I definitely put it in entertaining. I put it in S. It was definitely a very entertaining match, and it honestly had really good wrestling in it too. They had a bunch of spots where they did like the comedy stuff and going around the ring and stuff. If you take that out and just looked at just the wrestling too, you would probably still put it pretty highly rated just because there was some good solid things. And now the team of Hyper Mazao and Shoko will face for the titles back in or up in March. What did I say, back? Yeah. But yeah, if you like this kind of content, I like to do some of the Joshi pro wrestling type stuff. I don't do it super often because it's hard to catch the events. This one I caught after the fact, but enough that I could make the video and get it out and still be relevant because I want to make sure, people have been watching it. And if you haven't checked out this promotion and like comedy wrestling, but also solid character work and solid ring work, this is definitely the promotion to check out. Until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.